In that moment of panic, the laughter suddenly vanished. Even though the laughter had ceased, it didn't bring any relief to the two girls. The footsteps of a woman were once again audible. Neither Lucelyn nor Kyrie wanted to turn around. They already knew what would happen next and what they would see. As they attempted desperately to open the door, driven by fear and panic, Lucelyn was suddenly pushed backward, as if an unseen force with considerable strength was pushing her from the front. Lucelyn was startled, and she reflexively screamed. Kyrie stopped what she was doing and turned to see Lucelyn writhing in pain on the floor, lying on her back with her eyes closed as if she were enduring some agony. Her handycam still appeared to be on, its light illuminating the locked door area. The central room remained dim, and almost nothing could be seen. "Lucy," Kyrie called out. She reached out her hand to grab the petite girl, but unfortunately, Lucelyn was suddenly pulled toward the center of the room with a swift movement. Lucelyn screamed in terror as she was dragged by something invisible. "Lucy!" Kyrie yelled as loudly as she could. She stepped forward to pursue, but suddenly, something held onto her right leg, causing her to fall flat on her stomach. Kyrie's handycam fell to the floor, pointing in the direction where Lucelyn had been. "Sister, help!" Lucelyn was being pulled with tremendous force, disappearing quickly into the darkness. "Lucy!" Kyrie could only scream as she watched her sister vanish into total darkness. "Lucy!" Kyrie screamed again, but her screams received no response. Not only did she not receive an answer from the girl, she couldn't hear any sounds at all. No ghosts, no Lucelyn, no eerie and frightening sounds. Suddenly, everything fell silent. The darkness not only limited their vision, but also silenced all sounds. Kyrie could only cover her mouth and cry. She wanted to get up and run in the direction where Lucelyn disappeared, but her legs remained held in place. As if reminded of this, Kyrie tried to free her legs, but her efforts were in vain. Slowly, she began to realize that what held her leg felt like a hand's grip. Yes, there was a hand gripping her leg, which was why she had fallen and was restrained. "Who's holding my leg?" Kyrie suddenly froze in fear again. Although she was wearing long pants, the grip on her right leg, specifically on her calf, felt cold and possessed great strength. "Let me go." She immediately kicked in an attempt to release her leg from the grasp, but instead of freeing her leg, her struggle seemed to strengthen the grip. "Now," she cried out in pain. The strong grip and the cold air around her leg unintentionally made her turn her head to where her leg was. With the help of the light from the handycam Lucelyn had dropped, she saw the figure clearly. Right in that direction, Kyrie saw a woman's hand, black in color, with long black nails adorning the tips of the elongated fingers. The owner of the hand was a woman dressed entirely in black, her head bowed so that her long hair fell to the floor, obscuring her face. The woman was on her knees, her left hand touching the floor, while her right hand remained firmly gripping Kyrie's right calf. Seeing such an appearance naturally filled Kyrie with immense fear. Kyrie screamed as loudly as she could. She used all her strength to kick and free herself. Her efforts finally succeeded as the grip on her leg loosened. Although crying, Kyrie attempted to get up and run away from the figure on the floor. However, as soon as she stood up, the chandelier lights flickered on, but only for a moment before going out again. The chandelier light briefly illuminated the room, showing the same scene as before. The only difference was the long drag marks leading to the dusty stairs. Then, the light went out again. Kyrie looked around, even observing the chandelier directly above the room's center. Up there were only clean chandeliers. There were no bats like before. The chandelier lights kept flickering on and off for a few seconds. After that, the lights went out again, plunging the surroundings into darkness once more. "This isn't good. I have to get out of here." Seeing the astral activities, the girl with the pointed nose wanted to leave the house immediately. However, a moment later, she remembered Lucelyn. But what about Lucy? Damn, there's no way I can leave her in this cursed place. Kyrie muttered in a low voice filled with curses, trembling with intense fear. She illuminated the area around her using her handycam's light. Beneath her, There was no longer a figure gripping her leg, and the place was once again empty. Kyrie cautiously surveyed her silent surroundings, staying alert to any possible developments. Her handycam's light scanned the area, but unfortunately, there was nothing to be seen around her, only the same objects as when they first arrived. Then, a moment later, the light flickered on again, and the current situation was entirely different from before. Right in front of her, in the middle of the room, many terrifying creatures were now present. It wasn't just the girl in the white dress, other horrifying ghostly figures had also appeared. Some had mangled faces, severed limbs, torn stomachs, decapitated heads, and other gruesome conditions. There were a total of 8 ghosts there, including the one that had gripped Kyrie's leg and the woman who had been on the stairs earlier. Kyrie's eyes widened, her skin pale, and her body shivering uncontrollably. At that moment, she felt an overwhelming sense of fear. The creatures advanced toward her with eerie, stiff movements. Kyrie couldn't to look at them. She let out a long scream and collapsed onto the floor. She covered her face with both hands, unable to bear the sight of the incredibly horrifying figures. Her fear reached its peak. As she closed her eyes, she didn't realize that the ghosts were advancing closer to her instead of disappearing. The irregular footsteps were distinctly audible, and Kyrie realized that they were getting closer. Suddenly, a hand reached for her wrist, and,